Keys to the Commonwealth, a podcast where we share the real stories of local community members who are using real estate to build personal wealth, along with tips and tricks from professionals across the industry. And now, your host, Landry Fields.
Welcome, everyone, to the Keys to the Commonwealth podcast. I'm your host, Landry Fields. Excited to bring another episode for you this week from the Nova Insurance Group sponsored podcast here. We're serving your real estate investment needs, auto, home, and business insurance needs. Give us a call. As a broker, we kind of find our best options for you that fit your best needs, your best budget, and so forth. I'm excited for today's topic as we are going to be interviewing a business owner here. I've been wanting to have on the podcast for a while, have a different take on some conversations. He's the owner of Bleed Blue Properties and Bleed Blue Buyers. Has been a real estate investor for 3 years and is from Versailles, Kentucky. He is married to his beautiful bride, Jacqueline, and they have a 5-year-old son, Weston, and then 3 dogs, Axel, the German Shepherd, Hunter, the Golden Retriever, and Remington, the Silver Lab. I'm pleased to welcome Ronny Barnes today to the Keys to Commonwealth studio. Ronny, my man, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, man. Thanks.
Yeah, so you can't really drive around Lexington much without seeing your truck that's wrapped, driving around and so forth, seeing it around. I've definitely seen you in some of the groups and so forth. So, yeah, talk to me a little bit. How'd you fall into real estate? I mean, when I say fall, I mean you quickly fell in full-time into real estate, it seems like, in some respects. So how'd you get into real estate? Hop back in the door and how'd we get there?
Dove head first, right?
Right.
So I started out with a residential landscaping business, mowing yards, and I got up to a couple hundred yards, residential yards.
Okay.
Sold it off.
Which is a pretty good business at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. I sold that off to one of my employees at the time.
Yeah.
And went full commercial. So I had contracts with Ball Homes, Anderson Communities, or bigger apartment complexes.
Yeah.
Built it up, sold that to Chris Schauer at Diamond Landscapes. And became a general contractor. And so I was doing a lot of residential remodeling and stuff.
Right.
Well, I got introduced to the Bluegrass Real Estate Investors Group. Life-changing. Absolutely life-changing. And met this fellow, Zach Peterson. And
I have no idea who that clown is.
Nobody knows who Zach is, right?
Just kidding, Zach.
So, I was doing some work for some various investors, Sam Watts and some other folks.
Yep.
And basically, I loved the flipping.
Yeah.
I loved, even though I wasn't the owner, right, going in and flipping for them. And so,
there's something just about seeing
a finished product.
Yeah, like where it started. Like it never gets old. Like I could just always go to like the before and after photos. I could just that could be like what I would just, if I could just have Instagram just show me only before and after photos of real estate. Like I'd probably be pretty happy, right?
Absolutely. There's $1 million idea for an app right there.
Yeah.
Some kind of platform, right? Some kind of platform. So to be honest with you, I wanted more. Like I wanted to be able to do the design phase and stuff like that. So opportunity came to sell the construction company, and nervous as could be.
Yeah.
I said, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna try real estate full time. So I got my first flip house under contract. Bought it from Scott Pennebaker and rebuilt.
Okay.
And sold the construction company. And after that first flip, the rest is history.
Yeah. Right? As they say, the rest is history. There.
The rest is history.
The rest is not really history in the sense that obviously, transitioning businesses. I mean, you've done it a couple of times, but there's some excitement, and I like. I'm sure you probably like this too. Like starting in business from scratch in some respects, like the building, the idea, the identity of the business, how things, the processes, et cetera. I do like that a lot. But what was the transition like? Kind of, obviously you've done it a couple of times with some other business, but real estate's a little bit different for sure. What was that transition like?
So I'm blessed enough. Zach.
Yeah.
All right. One of the things he's always said to me that I've always held dear. I say it all the time. I tell people, as many people as will listen, your network is your net worth. Right.
Right.
And so I'm very blessed and fortunate to be a little outgoing.
Yeah.
And to have a personality where I can build relationships and network. So for me, it wasn't as tough because I had those relationships and I had people to lean on. one of my entities, Ronny Masadi, is a partner in Bleed Blue House Buyers.
Okay.
The mentorship from him, the information and stuff that I've gotten from him is absolutely priceless. Wouldn't be where I am right now without the Zach Petersons and Ronny Masadis and Scott Pennebakers.
Yeah.
Even folks that I may not have ever directly done business with, like Tyrell Hayden.
Yeah.
Right? I learned a lot from him, even though we've never done a transaction together. I've learned a lot from him.
Yeah.
Sam Watts,
And that points back to that community, like you said, with Life Changing or whatever for the Bluegrass Real Estate, page. Like the relationships is so valuable. Even in my short period of stint in and around the group or the people, it is like there's been so many great people who have reached out or I've texted and asked like, hey, what do I do in this situation, or who would you recommend for this, or how did you handle this situation, type of thing.
Yeah, and it's you get out what you put in. Right. Mm-hmm. I see folks all the time come and go on the page, or, we got 7,200 members, but I could probably name 30 off the top of my head. Right.
Yeah.
Because they're active. And it's not only what can I get from the group, but what can I give to the group?
Yeah.
What can I do to give back to the group and to the members of the group? See a lot of folks in there just take, right?
There's some good and bad for sure, but there's a lot of good in it.
There's a lot of good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good. So just getting active and being there for the other members and doing good business. Doing good business. It's really that simple.
Yeah.
Do good business.
Treating people how you would want to be treated. That's what we try to do here at, Nova Insurance and stuff like that. But I'm just like, if everybody did that, it'd just be so much easier.
Yeah.
Honestly.
You wouldn't have so many war stories, right?
Right.
But then that takes some of the fun out of it, I guess. You got to have some of those war stories.
So how long did you keep? Sure, you were just kind of flipping full-time in that sense, right? Not you weren't holding really at that point in time.
Correct.
And so just flipping. This was how long ago was that? So, this has kind of been through right before the pandemic, I guess then, right?
Yeah, so I flipped my very first one January of 2020.
Oh.
Wait, no, I'm sorry, 2021. So my first flip house was, I sold Bleed Blue contracting in November of 2020.
Yeah.
Bought my first flip and started on it January of 2021.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's been really about a year and a half. And
interesting. Okay.
So I flipped 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And then
mostly wholesale deals kind of thing, or
yep, all from wholesalers.
Okay.
All from wholesalers. I wasn't doing any marketing. And then I hurt my back. I had back surgery in May of last year.
Okay.
Things got a little stagnant. And then in April, before my back surgery, I met Ronny Masadi. Mm-hmm. And at first, I don't think he liked me very much. We weren't friends at first. We had some miscommunication whenever I owned Bleed Blue Contracting.
Okay.
So we actually met because I sent an employee out to do to give a bid on a flip for him, and it did not work out well. So we actually met on great terms, not on great terms, but we had a conversation, and we ended up hitting it off. We are so opposite that it works. They say the only ship that doesn't sail is a partnership. Yeah. Him and I are ice and fire, right?
Okay.
So, but it worked out. So once we got together and we decided that, we were tired of paying $30,000, $40,000 assignment fees, right? And so we're like, okay, let's do some marketing, right? Let's
explain the assignment fees for anybody that doesn't know.
So for wholesaling, an assignment fee, right? So let's say I get a property 123 Main Street under contract for $100,000, mm-hmm. and Landry, you're a real estate investor, you're mm-hmm. a buyer. So I bring that contract, I assign it to you for $125,000. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to get you and the seller to the closing table, and you're going to buy the property,
right.
And then I'm going to take the $25,000 assignment fee.
Right.
So in a sense, off-market cash.
Yes.
Realtor.
So, right.
Kind of
That's
deal.
A good way of putting it. Yeah.
Okay. So.
Yep. Okay.
I was buying flips, and don't get me wrong, I was making money, and I've always said I don't.
And those people have paid a lot of money to get those assigned.
Absolutely. As you know, I spend $20,000 a month in marketing, so you got to make the money back, and then you got to make profit, right? And you got overhead. However, So it wasn't a knock to wholesalers we were buying from. We were just saying, well, if they're making 20, 30 grand on the assignment and I just made 20 grand on the flip, I could have made 50 if I found the deal. Right? Like, it just makes sense.
And if somebody wants to put in the work, you can put in the work and do it, type of thing.
Right. And so I was like, okay,
shout out to YouTube for being able to teach me pretty much anything now.
Right. So it's like, hey, do we want to make 20 or do we want to make 50?
Yeah.
Right. And again, we still buy deals from wholesalers, from other wholesalers. Right.
Right.
There's, if a deal if I can make money on it, I don't care if somebody makes 40 or 50 grand on an assignment. If I make, if I'm making money, I'd agree to buy it. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
But again, it was a simple fact of how can we grow and make more money?
Right.
And so we started sourcing our own deals, and that just kind of blossomed. Evidently, we're kind of good at it. So we're blessed to have an influx of deals, excess deals. We never started to do wholesaling. That was never. When we first started doing some little puny marketing and, send out 250 pieces of mail, the goal was never to be like full-time wholesaling.
Sure.
That wasn't the goal. It just kind of, actually, Zach and I just had a conversation last night, and one of the things he said was adapt or die, right?
Yeah.
Business changes.
And COVID has definitely done that. Like, we're obviously changing market, higher real estate rates. People are holding on to their properties, and if they are for sale, I mean, obviously investors have come out of the woodworks in that sense, and trying to buy almost anything. So it is an adapt and die type of thing where you've got to figure out, okay, how do I adapt? There's still deals out there, but obviously the way of getting them, just scrolling Zillow is not the way probably Zach originally, I think he said he started doing type of thing. It's a lot harder to find anything in that nature type of thing anymore.
And at the end of the day, we sold signed a few deals and doing good business. Yeah. So this entity number 6 that I've owned, and I've been a co-owner of Blue House Buyers, but I've noticed that when you do good business, it just kind of tends to grow rapidly. Yeah. Right? And that's kind of what we've been faced with. And so we're still not, I think a lot of our buyers, a lot of folks still have a misconception that we are strictly wholesalers, and we are not. We actually hold a lot of our deals. Okay. 2 months ago, we didn't make any money because we had 8 deals and we kept every one of them. We didn't wholesale any of them.
Which means all the marketing paid to get them.
Right. Came out of our pocket.
Right.
Yeah. So, so we're not strictly wholesalers. We do flip. We still do hold. Ronny's got over 50 properties, pushing 60 maybe now, 60 doors. So we're not strictly wholesaling. We are buyers too.
You hold them down too?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I actually have a duplex downtown that I was gonna part with, but I think I'm gonna pull it off the market and refi it too. So and so getting into holding. So we're buyers as well. Yeah, and that's my big thing is I treat my buyers the way I would want to be treated as a buyer. Yeah, right? I treat my sellers the way I would want to be treated as a seller, and it's worked out so far.
Worked out. So far, so good. And it's a good state to do it in. I mean, most people here are pretty obviously nice folk, as I guess you would say it. And
most of them.
No, I mean, I think Kentuckians as a whole, it seems like we're pretty laid back and friendly in that sense, which has been great. As far as wholesale, I mean, what are those factors that usually drive somebody to agree to be on the selling end of that transaction kind of thing?
Most of our sellers are usually in a situation where the property would not make it on the market. Okay. Right. So there's heavy repairs or a lot of times somebody just the convenience. Yeah. Right. I can close it in 2 weeks.
As cash, is rather than having to try to do a bunch of stuff.
Right. Yeah. The whole 9 yards. Now I've had couple, maybe a dozen deals where it was me versus a realtor. No disrespect to any realtors listening. We love our realtors. But the simple fact was that I could get up enough because, see, I'm not taking those $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 assignment fees, right? So I'm able to offer a little more because I'm not getting greedy on the back end.
Sure.
Right. And so at the end of the day, they say, okay, I can make an extra $10,000 going on the market, but then I have to list it. And then I have to leave my house every time there's a showing. And then I have the inspection, the appraisal, wait 30 days. Or is it worth 10 grand to just leave what I don't want behind?
Do you see like different size houses of all sizes, or is it usually more of a trend of like, your 1,000 to 2,000 square foot houses type of thing?
Most of the time, 70% maybe is the 3,100, 3,200, 1,500 square foot. But we've assigned 3,000 square foot homes, Polo Club. We've assigned, townhouses, multifamily. We literally Masterson Station, everywhere, right?
Right.
So not
is it primarily Lexington right now?
Lexington and all surrounding counties.
Okay.
So we've done 5 in Versailles this year.
Okay.
I'm a Versailles boy, so
that's right.
I take Versailles personally.
Where'd you go to high school?
Woodford.
Woodford, yeah.
I'm a Yellow Jacket. So all the other wholesalers listening, stay out of Woodford County. Please leave Versailles alone. I'll give you whatever other town you want. Leave Versailles alone. So, no, just kidding.
Versailles is an interesting town, though.
It is
because of you tell me. I've always heard that there's a lot there's obviously a Walmart. There's not a Walmart there specifically.
Nope.
They would keep it out, kind of a thing, right?
There will never be a Walmart in Versailles. Yes,
I think
they want to stay small.
Yeah.
So the Jack Canes of the world rule Versailles, right? So they want to keep Versailles small.
Yeah, and there's a lot of draw to that in some respects. I could see, So
we're one of the top 3 school districts in the state.
Okay,
we have a really good school district. The city just bought the old Kroger building that's been vacant for several years.
Really?
The city bought it and going to do a lot of cool things with it for our youth.
Nice.
Like bowling alley, indoor skating rink, arcades.
Downtown's kind of picking up.
It is. Small business.
I know.
Very small business.
I know people working on the old bank that's turning it into a hotel right now.
Yep.
So, I've known them for many years and know that what they're doing with the different shops and coffee stuff they got down there is pretty cool. Anyway, sorry, side tangent about Versailles.
I'll ramble about Versailles all day.
That's awesome. So. As far as the opportunities, what's happening with that? The market in general right now as rates start going up. Does it kind of make it more applicable in some respects? You getting more people kind of wholesaling type of thing, or is it start stretching a little bit, or is it what are the rates doing to it?
We have since COVID hit, especially now, we have more wholesalers in Central Kentucky than we do. We got a lot of wholesalers. So now some very legit wholesalers.
Yeah,
we got some folks that. It's in any industry, right? You see a
if there's opportunity for money, someone's going to take advantage of it.
Now there's some great folks: Christine Palm, Free Built, Rapid Fire, Joseph, and there's some the Miller, Cameron Miller. There's a lot of legit folks, right? I know I'm missing some, but these are folks that I interact with on a regular basis. And Zach and them, I think, are going to starting to do a little bit. So. I'm all for legit wholesalers.
Yeah.
Right. All for it. A lot of it's competition and what have you. I will rap with another and conversate with another wholesaler any day of the week as long as intentions are good. Right. Yeah. As long as you're not trying to creep and find out what I'm doing so you can use it against me. Right. Todd Haas is another one. Great guy.
Okay.
Shout Todd out. So. I'm all about legit wholesalers because it keeps the fly-by-nights at bay. It was the same thing in the construction industry, right? When you see a contractor go out and all of a sudden they're a contractor and they butcher a job, it makes all of us legit contractors. It makes our jobs harder. It makes it reflects on me. So I drive this big truck around town saying we buy houses. Well, some of the looks I get sometimes is probably not great looks because of interactions they've had with folks that don't do good business, right? So
that's true. I guess, I could see there's a lot of people who have bad interaction, and then they're the ones that are probably going to post it all over, their accounts, their Facebook groups, etc. And
so when they go into it, the wholesaler the wholesaler will go into a contract way too high, have no idea what the repairs or the after retail or the retail value is. And then they get to the closing table, they try to drop them $20,000, or they got to back out and never get to the table, right? Because they're just shooting, just throwing a dart in the dark, right?
Yeah.
But back to the question. We're in this, and I'm by no means an expert. Right? I've been doing it a year and a half. I've learned a lot quickly because of the names I've mentioned before. Mentoring me. But
when we mentors and when you're in it like full time, like you just jumped into it, you learn real
16
quick.
hours a day, you learn a lot, right? So, and by the way, every business I've ever started, I went into it with zero knowledge or experience in the industry. The tattoo shop, can't draw a stick figure. Had no idea how to run a tattoo shop, but I invest in people. Yeah. Like, that's my thing. When you invest in people, you don't have to know everything. It's okay to say, I don't know.
I mean, maybe it's almost safe to say every business is a people business in some form or facet.
Absolutely. Invest in people. Invest in people to do good business. So, but we're in this, from what I've seen and heard and whatever, we're in this little pocket of time where the market's changing, but the general public hasn't caught up with it yet. Right? So everybody knows the rates are up, but there's still people who I go on an appointment, and because Zillow says their house is worth $140, well, they want 160, well, or 260, or somebody say, well, I can easily get $350 for this house. I'm like, yeah, 3 months ago, but now somebody with $350,000 of buying power has actually only got $290,000 of buying power because of the rates.
It used to be like, okay, I hope I can get that much. What Zillow is saying, that used to be, and then all of a sudden, for a year and a half, 2 years, there was like, oh, you can probably get that, if not even more than what Zillow is telling you. And now it seems like it's coming back.
Tell everybody don't look at Zillow. There's something, they're $25,000 short, $25,000 high. Zillow, the Zestimate is merely just a range, right? Let's look at a range. So,
I think it's a good point. I think people see this estimate number, don't look at, here's the range, and that's really what the range,
Or it's
the range is probably decently accurate.
Yeah, let's look at the range a little closer than we do that hard number. And what a lot of folks, what we run into a lot is, well, my neighbor's house just sold for $300. I know I can get that. Well, your neighbor's house has 2 extra bedrooms, an extra bath, and 500 square foot. Their roof is not caving in. So
right.
But we're at that time where, and it was kind of before the pandemic, like when the market was super, super hot. So it was September 2019, right? Mm-hmm. 19 to like 2020. So the market was super, super hot, but it took a little while for the general public and sellers to catch up to that, right? Now, obviously, folks like us and investors and people who are in the mix every day, we see it quicker. But the average Tom, Dick, or Harry that's sitting on their couch, they don't understand that, what that 6% interest rates. All I hear is, well, in 1988, it was 18%, and we still sold a house. I'm like, yeah, but it's not 1988, and, a pack of ham isn't $5 at the grocery store. So it's, once the sellers start catching up, I think you're going to see even more wholesalers, because people are going to start choosing to go the cash route versus the market, because they don't want their house to sit on the market. If they had that pre-notion of, I'm going to get $250, well, I'm not going to get $250. We just price reduced the flip house in Versailles. That 3-4 months ago, it would have been gone over the weekend, and then we had a price drop at $5,000. Time to change. The rates are hurting. People are getting nervous. Buyers are losing buyer power. Got a buyer right now in a deal that literally under contract, ready to sell a deal at $235, and they come back and say, hey, rates just jumped, they weren't locked in, their buying power is now $225. So we got to go back and restructure the whole deal, or I got to walk out on my buyers, which I'm not going to do. So we get a little bit of a price reduction. I take a little bit of a hit. They bring a little more to the table, and we make a deal happen. But they lost $10,000 overnight.
Honestly, the whole job's sounds super stressful to me. Always having to be, there's a lot of value to it, but I can't imagine being like, you're always like making sure the deal happens, like, between.
It's a misconception of wholesalers. It's easy money.
Yeah,
I hear that a lot.
That is,
hey, it's not easy money. We spend $20,000 on marketing a month. That's not easy. That hurts my feelings every
the
2
true
weeks.
spend money to make money on that.
Yeah, but when you've got you not only calling and getting the appointment and going to the house and figuring up the repair values and the retail value and getting it under contract, and then finding a buyer, negotiating with the buyer, and then getting two people to a closing table, and the back end, all the deed work and title prep, or title work and deed prep, and whenever the buyer says, actually I'm $5,000 off, well, okay, I'm going to eat 2 of it, and you eat 2 of it, and a seller may, Masadi calls me a professional angler, right? Because you always have to be able to problem solve it, and I love it, right?
Yeah.
We have testimonials, and I have text messages from sellers that literally say, hey, I'm going to sleep tonight for the first time in months. Thank you. And sellers who, to my knowledge, we've never had a deal. There's a buyer not making any money. But with that comes a lot of work. Comes a lot of work.
Hey, you got to grind. I understand it.
So somebody gets mad at my $7,000 assignment fee. I'm like, I spent $2,500 to get the deal, most likely, right? So
that's why I love Gary Vee. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, he spits truth. Like, you just got to grind. I mean, there's ways to make money out there. There's ways to profit. There's ways to. You just have to wake up and grind and know that one day maybe you don't have to grind as hard.
Somebody worried about my $10,000 assignment fee, but guess what? I was out at 8:30 on a Wednesday night looking at this house in the crawl space with the flashlight on my phone so that you could buy this flip house and make some money. So there's some value in that, right?
That's right.
There's some value in that.
Interesting.
I feel like my time's very valuable.
Yeah.
I'm probably not as much as I would like to think, but, that's kind of where we're at with it.
I mean, you're right. It does seem, I think definitely wholesaling, it seems like it's, like you said, there's a lot more time, energy, and effort that's put into it than I think most people totally miss.
When you do it the right way.
When you do it the right way. People think, oh, I can do that, and they start trying to do it, and you're like, no, there's still a grind. No, it's not.
6 months go by and you haven't had your first deal. You're like beating your head against the wall. Yeah. It's like, okay, maybe this isn't as easy as the guy on Facebook Watch made it look, or that YouTube TikTok video about wholesaling I watched. That guy made it look real easy. Yeah.
When you're not doing real estate or crawling around in crawl spaces, what are you doing these days?
So we just bought some land in Versailles, so working on that. But I'm very involved with our church in Versailles.
Okay, yeah.
Play the drums on the worship team. Actually, in the morning, pastor is our youth camp for our church this week.
Nice.
Pastor's got to come back for or do a funeral.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go down and be our senior youth counselor.
Okay.
For the day and the night tomorrow. So, and it's water day, so hopefully the weather holds off. So.
Yep.
All these youth that give me trouble, or not give me trouble, but pick on me.
There you go.
On Sundays and Wednesdays. Tomorrow's a little payback.
I call myself a percussionist as well. Most people don't realize a pianist in a lot of ways, but technically most people don't realize a piano is a percussion instrument.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
most people have no idea.
So music is my thing.
Yeah,
music's my thing.
It's such an outlet for. Mm-hmm. I remember when I was a kid too. Like this is just a random side note. I remember as a kid, you could tell like how I was feeling. Like if I was frustrated, I would like go over the piano and just start like. I really get it. Just like or even read music and everything like that. But I would also just play, just start playing and making up stuff while I would go. But it would just be like real heavy and loud, and then I'd like. After like 5 to 10 minutes, again, just making up a song as I play, and it would kind of come down to this more melodic and, happier type. So it was kind of an outlet for me as a kid, for sure.
I'd say 24, 25 pairs of broken drumsticks over my tenure. So, and that's one thing, I can't read music. Yeah. I've been playing the drums since I was 8 years old.
Okay.
And I can't read a lick of music. I play by ear.
Yeah.
And my wife says all the time that she can tell, same thing.
Yeah.
You can feel the passion when I play, whatever I'm feeling. If I'm, So I lived in Masterson Station for a long time, right? That's
Okay. Yeah, I lived in McConnell's Race.
Okay. Well, we lived across the street at 1.2 on Whiteberry.
Okay. Yep.
So we kind of float. We did a lot of live-in flips, right? We move in, flip it while we live there, stay 2 years.
House hack it.
Yep, absolutely. So I had an electric set, and then obviously I played acoustic set at church, but. So now I'm out here on this land back in Versailles, and I got a barn. And
you just wail.
Yes, yeah. My
just
dogs.
put some huge speakers spaced in you.
Absolutely,
just don't worry about headphones anymore.
I've moved to a real drum set now.
Yeah,
I'm buying a practice set off the church basically to put out in the barn. My dogs sit out there and howl, play. It's great. It's good times.
What was the first car you owned?
A Chevy S10.
Okay.
So I don't think it went over 45 miles an hour, right? And so I had to stay off New Circle. I would drive from Versailles to Lexington and take Man o' War and Lane Alley. I'd take Parker's. I'd take all the back roads, Alexandria. I'd take all the back roads because I couldn't go fast enough to get on New Circle.
You and Jacqueline going on date night. Where are you guys going?
So it's got to be Red Lobster.
Okay.
Right? She loves seafood. I hate it. I'll eat fried shrimp. That's it.
Okay.
Believe it or not, Red Lobster has some of the best steak I've ever tasted.
Okay.
They're not known for that, right?
Red Lobster. I've never had it there.
I'm telling you. Fried shrimp and steak. So I get steak. She gets her crab legs. And most of the time we don't even face each other because watching her eat crab legs makes me gag a little bit. Yeah. The butter and
I like it. I do crab legs usually on vacation each year. That's when I normally do it. But there's no easy way to do it, crab legs. That's for sure. It's a process.
The last time, literally, when she cracks one, it smacks me in the face. I'm like, all right, we're gonna sit at different tables on date night. I'll text you.
Yeah. Well, man, if anybody wants to reach out, kind of just get some advice from you or anything like that regarding real estate investing or anything like that. What's the best way to get a hold of you or reach out?
Cell phone, 859-684-7710. It's my personal cell phone. I don't know, there's no telling how many people in Kentucky have that phone number. It's plastered all over my truck.
Not as many as Ryan Lemon, but...
Probably not. Ryan Lemon has my phone, actually. I wanted to buy a couple of... He asked me if... I'm a big Kentucky fan. Season tickets, whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
And Ryan texted me and... wanted me to look at some rentals that he was going to part with. Yeah. And we just can't make the numbers work.
Sure.
I almost wanted to buy one just to say, hey, I bought this house off Ryan Lemon, but my wife's better judgment kind of nipped that. But yeah, and then our barns at bleedblueky.com. And obviously, anybody that knows me would tell you that whether we're doing business or whether you have anything to bring to the table, I'm willing to talk, help, mentor. Because if it wasn't for the ones before me, I wouldn't be where I'm at. So,
or if you need a sweet tat, Bleed Blue Ink.
Absolutely. Right across from Soundbar.
There you go.
Mention this podcast, get 20% off. Hey, they will call me to verify that. They will call me to verify that, and I will vouch for it.
I think it's the first coupon code that's ever been offered on the show.
Damn,
there you go.
Love it.
I need to get my first ink eventually.
There you go. I tell you what, if Landry Fields would go get his tattoo, it's on the house.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Okay.
All right.
Now my wife's going to definitely want me to go get it. I definitely got to get something one day here. I think I know what I want. Anyway, we will see everybody back here next week. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast. Ryan, my man, thanks for coming on the podcast and giving your story.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.
To learn more about this podcast, visit our page at keystothecommonwealth.com. To connect with Landry regarding insuring your investment portfolio, email Landry at novainsuranceGroup.com or call 859-687-2004.